Hello, hello, how are we doing? How am I doing? I'm doing great, thank you for asking. Day 3, Kart World Champs, and once again, another day of approaching a different different track layout than the previous 2 days. Again, that was the quite exciting part of this championship. You do a different layout every day. One lap quali then for round 5. Out of the 8 qualifying heats that we do, obviously best 7 to count, and obviously we're hoping that my heat from day 2 doesn't count towards my overall score, because it was a terrible race, finished near the back. But let's see what we can do on this day. So yeah, in terms of kart wise, this one was a bit more mid-pack. As you can see, it was a bit slower than I expected going into that corner. It gripped up quite early as well, so I mistimed that corner there. So not a great start to this quali. Actually, we're towards the end of the lap now. So yeah, obviously we know this section pretty well. Obviously this bit is the new part, which we got to do in practice. Oversteered pretty wide there, not too good. Haven't got the temperature in the tyres, and we finish our qualifying lap on qualified P12. Lots of good names around us, lots of good drivers, and an action-packed race start for sure. Obviously starting on the outside, which is not desirable, the track begins with 2 long left-handers, so yeah, not desirable at all. But we get a good run, good start on the outside. Unfortunately, there's not a gap for me to slot into. All sorts of action ahead. We've got a fellow UK driver just further up the road as well, Sean Briley. Going to stick it round the outside, see if we can keep it there. Get tapped a little bit there, bit out of control. Got another driver to my inside. It's a blue star driver, I think it's Jimmy Gaspard. Looking at 2 wide, 3 wide. Don't want to be really losing too many positions at this point in time, as it is very difficult to catch up with the way this layout is designed. Aggressive move coming from in front of us, but we're going to follow this driver through. As you can see, overtaking definitely a lot easier at this circuit than others. We've got Schottler just up ahead of us as well, because he won this championship last time the event took place. And yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. This is exciting, being in the mid pack and battling hard. Obviously, a small mistake from me there, costing me another position. And he's not wasting any time. He's trying to take every move, and I left the door pretty wide open there, so cost me a spot. Yeah, this driver is definitely looking to make some progress. Feels like he's qualified out of position. And a sneaky double overtake, question mark. Yes indeed, 2 in 1, lovely move. Will that last? Probably not, but nonetheless it is an issue. Obviously battling this hard at this point in the race, you don't really want to be doing that, but we're just having some fun by this point. It's not like we're going to finish in the top 5, top 8 even. We just don't have that kind of pace, and battling like this is not going to be as helpful either. But also we still have that pit stop to play with, of course. 35 seconds in the pits in total, and that eventually changed actually for the afternoon round after they discovered a slight issue with that. Yeah, we're just going to follow this driver here, try and catch up with the drivers in front of us. Now we are behaving ourselves a little bit, thinking a bit more about the race and doing double overtakes into a single corner. Can never be me. Really like how this track flows though, especially that corner there. And really attack the curbs. Nice smooth ride around this last corner. I'm not sure which track layout was my favourite. Maybe the full track, because obviously you get a bit of everything, or maybe even the layout we didn't eventually do. But as you can see, this guy in front of me is just completely powered away. got no chance here to stay up, stay with him. So no wonder he's qualified out of position. And a big send again from him. And I would have loved to have followed him through, but I just can't keep up. Well, we can only try our best. To make a pit stop in this race, you'll see shortly. It was a bit different. It was quite cool the way it was set up. Obviously, we're not using the section at the back of the track towards the end of the lap for a full circuit lap. We're not using that last section. But obviously, we were allowed to use that section to make a pit stop, which I thought was very cool. And right now what I'm thinking is this driver in front of me, he's got some good waft. It might be a good idea to follow him. Especially if he was to make a pit stop. It doesn't make sense to overtake him right now because he definitely has more power than me. As you can see, he just accelerated away from me here. But it's good if it'll be very good if I'm able to keep up with him. He'll be able to drag me along. As you see to the right there was where you can make a pit stop, which you'll probably see on the next lap. I think we make a pit stop pretty soon. It's what I felt like was the right thing to do. Lots of teamwork going on. You see a driver, two drivers ahead, 2 spots ahead, all over the dirt. We're catching him like crazy now. It's very easy to lose loads of time in the dirt. And this guy's doing all sorts of signalling. If he does pit, then I'll be looking to follow him, because as I say, I feel like it is the right thing to do if I'm able to latch onto him. I mean, right now he's accelerating away pretty well, and that's because he's in the slipstream as well. But here we're going to take a pit stop, so we are going to use full circuit for a pit stop. I think this is a very cool feature. I want to stay as close as I can to this guy, because when we come out the pit lane I want to still remain close. And in the pit lane we go. So yeah, I really enjoyed that part of the pit stop procedure. And obviously, if you were fighting someone as well, you could do a cheeky overtake down in that section. But here we go. It's a 35-second pit stop. So from the second you enter the actual pit lane itself, and he gets away. 35 seconds, just crossing that line there. And this is the problem with 35-second pit stops. As you can see, it feeds you right back into the pack, which is kind of counterintuitive really to what the purpose of the pit stop is. The purpose of the pit stop is to take you out of the pack that you're in. But as you can see, literally right ahead of us is the pack we were in. So we're basically exactly a lap down by this point, I believe. And yeah, that was something that we got changed for the afternoon round because of that, and it also caught a few people out in the afternoon round, which we'll come to in a bit. It's always important to attend your driver's briefing for things that may change. As I say, we'll see a bit more about that in the next one. There goes another driver making his pit stop now. He'll probably come out quite close to us, and here he is coming out. Luckily he keeps to the right. Yeah, we're going to overtake him anyway. Probably the wrong idea, who knows. The thing is, lots of oversteer there, unfortunately. Massively messed that up, and we lose 2 more spaces. I believe Jimmy at this point in the blue suit has made a pit stop as well. So now we've kind of settled into our pack. Just need to keep up with them. Although, as you can see, that's not going to be an easy task. Looking at that waft there. We did qualify P12. It would be nice to finish around there in this kart. I think the lap I did was not terrible, but it could definitely have been better. And as you can see, the gap they've pulled on me already is quite frightening. It's going to be a very tough task to keep up with this. Obviously, we are well over halfway stage through the heats. Obviously, this is heat 5 out of 8. We need the best result possible. We already have a result of like 21st or something that we want to drop at the end, especially if we want to make it to the semi-finals. Top 64 make it to the semis, and the top 32 make it to the grand final. That would be absolutely exceptional if we can make it to the grand final on our first abroad race meeting. Especially against lots of talented drivers and so many variables being thrown into the works. I'd like to say that the gaps kind of stayed the same that time around, but it just seems to be eking away ever so slightly. It's not what we wanted. We're going to move on a bit here, and as you can see, the gaps just got larger. Yeah, kind of running on our own now, which is a bit of a shame. Obviously trying to nail everything, just in case. You never know what might happen with penalties, or whether people have jumped their pit stop, as in their pit stop was 34 seconds instead of 35. So obviously if you do it in 34 seconds, you basically lose a lap. I forgot exactly what the penalty was for it, but whatever the penalty was, it definitely got applied in the afternoon, as there were changes made to the pit stop procedure. Really riding that curb on the outside there, getting as close to the dirt as we can on the left. Free flowing through these corners, and across the line, finishing in P13. So we did lose a place, not ideal, but we move on to the afternoon round, and pulled a better kart in this, which was good. Back for the one lap quali, try and get a good time in. And hopefully we can have a better race than what we did in the earlier one. Obviously P13 is still not ideal. Opening up this corner loads, start our quali lap, and away we go. Full 100% concentration to try and set the best, most perfect lap possible. Obviously today is the return of the pink fluoro suit. The NTU suit, obviously been wearing the Birol Art one, but decided to make a change for today, especially as the other ones were getting a bit sweaty. Really nailed these first few corners. See if we can keep this momentum up. Hard on the brakes, all over the curb. Kart sliding out, my goodness, but still managed to catch it. Amazing. But this is a good lap so far. Kart not really wanting to turn in there. Bit of an issue, also ran a bit wide. So, yes, bit of a mistake at that corner. Not really getting that corner too good, to be honest. I'm struggling around there. Again, a bit of understeer there on the exit. So, yeah, this lap is far from perfect. Jumping off that surface and across the line. And qualified in P8. So, yes, iffy one. I definitely feel like I was capable of more. But hey ho, still near the front and on the 4th row. Starting on the outside again, but let's see what happens, hey? P8. See if we can have a bit of a better race. Green flag, away we go. Dennis Holler to our left, George Suarez in front of us. I think it's Nikolai as well. See how this plays out. Getting a bit aggressive in front of us here. Bit of loading going on. Quick switch around here. It was a good switch around. bit messy, but it is what it is. But now, unfortunately, we're going to get swallowed on the inside. Try and keep it around the outside here. Dennis leaves enough space for us. Unfortunately, this driver gets a bit shafted, and it's resulted in me losing some positions as well. Not good at all. A lot of time lost. Again, double overtake time, but unfortunately we have lost a lot of time to those in front of us. So not a great lap one, especially with Dennis and that other driver going alongside, costing us a bit of time. But now, head down, try and carry on now. Need to catch up. We are too far behind. Miraculously, we are still in our starting position. We did have a good first half of the lap, but obviously not a good second half. But the race is not over. It's only one lap down. I'm making my intentions clear. I'm wanting to drive as fast as possible to try and catch up to these drivers in front. This kart was definitely a little bit better than the previous one, so something more we can work with. Still more battling going on ahead, which is music to my eyes. As meant I could catch up, catching George Suarez pretty quickly now. I think he's not happy with him really. Heavy battling right now, but this is great for us. He's waving at him now. He's getting very pissed off. Yeah, lots of aggressive gesturing going on, but we're keen to get involved regardless. Decent move down the inside. And yeah, so obviously in this position right now, I know George is a bit upset. But I need to evaluate him. I need to evaluate where his pace is at, and it turned out his pace is pretty on point with ours. I mean, George did go on to finish, I think P4 overall in the whole standing. So he did a good job in this championship. So it'd be good to follow him, try and keep up with him. But we are into P7 now, so we are one up from our starting position. You have to remember in qualifying, if you do make a mistake, well, in qualifying there's always going to be drivers setting perfect laps in the good karts, so you can't really afford to make a mistake. But obviously the difference for this race was the pit stops, in terms of instead of 35 seconds it was 55 seconds you had to sit in the pit lane. George asking to work together, I agree. I mean, obviously we're catching everyone actually, which is great. But yeah, it was 55 seconds in the pit lane this time, which was explained in the driver's briefing, in which a few people may have not attended or properly listened to. But we'll get to that in a bit. But obviously the purpose is to get us out of the pack, not to just end up rejoining the same pack after a pit stop. It is completely pointless otherwise to have a pit stop. So that is what they have changed on this occasion. But we're not thinking about that right now. We're still want to get our head down, want to catch this pack after a very poor lap one. Just easing the car in. These cars are very unpredictable to drive. Lots of hopping going on. That's your classic Soli karts, but yeah, very strange karts to drive. But we've got the hang of it by now on day 3 of the individual champs. We've spent enough time in the seat to be used to them. You see, we're weighing in at 90 kg, so we're sitting pretty planted as it is. I would have loved to have seen what it would be like in a wet race round here. I do fancy my chances in the wet. But as I say, these karts were completely different to drive. Unfortunately, George has left us a little bit there, coming out the corner. But we'll try and chase him down again. It's all kind of staying put at the moment. Obviously, I've got some drivers behind me. obviously the leading pack you can see in front of us. Got this driver behind me. He has got some pace on him as well. He has been catching, so I know he's a force not to be reckoned with, really. He agrees to work for now, but I know that's not always going to be the case. Otherwise, we're keeping up with these drivers pretty well. You know, it's still anyone's game, and when we come to the end, it well and truly is anyone's game. But we're driving well, and it's good. I'm happy with where we're at, especially after an iffy lap one. I thought it would be a lot further behind than this. Would love to know where I would be if I wasn't caught up in all of that at the start. But hey ho, we're not completely sure what our pace would have been like compared to the leaders. Obviously, they're still battling away, not overly, but they're still somewhat battling away. I think it's the kid from Denmark who's currently in the lead as we get overtaken here. I think it's Denmark. So obviously, just been overtaken, back down to where we started, P8. Want to see where this guy is at, where he's gaining time on me. And it became quite clear to me as he powers away. And my worry really at this point is he's going to push everyone else away from me as well, which is not what I want. I need to stay in the slipstream. And but they're making a move on this driver here, two of them. This guy loses 2 spots in one corner, and we're definitely keen to get involved in some of that. Would love some of that, in fact. Again, sliding around, almost like it's wet. So easy to lock the rear brakes, but we're going to go for a move on this guy. It was a very clean move, however not so efficient move. As you can see, he kind of came to a stop at the apex and lost that time coming out. But we're not terribly far behind, but I know what this driver has in his pocket in front of me, and he is just going to get away. If anything, he's probably got a race winning car there, and he's keen to make up for his qualifying. It's all starting to settle down a little bit more. The driver behind is pushing me along a little bit. But as I say, pit stop, 55 seconds. Currently where? P7 at the moment? Who listened to that race briefing? We will find out shortly. Lovely to race in Portugal in the lovely sun. The drive down to Portugal was pretty mucky, especially in France. It was quite wet in France and miserable in France. Got to Spain, it all brightened up a little bit more. Portugal was nice and sunny, which is lucky as that's where we're racing now. I just saw a penalty on the gantry there for someone. But unfortunately, these drivers are getting away in the Portuguese sunshine. Opening up this corner, trying to drive as beautifully as possible. These two drivers ahead, George, etc., catching up to Dennis. Dennis actually finished P2 in this championship. So if you're catching up to him, you're doing a good job. The question mark now is just when do we take the pit stop? Not right now, Dante thinks. You can just hear how windy it is, making the tow so strong. But yeah, as you can see here, it is starting to settle down a little bit. It is just going to come to the pit stops, or if any incidents happen. As you can see, the two drivers ahead have overtaken Dennis and left him. We're going to pit now as we're bored. and we don't know what else to do. But the most important thing is we are going to do the pit stop. Absolutely sending it round here, around the tight section. Their smaller circuit layout, they call it. Mostly for the smaller events. And in we enter at full speed, showing off with some sliding skills, and we are in for 55 seconds. As you can see, all the spare carts to the right there. They had, I think, 51 carts, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong, but they had a lot of carts, that's for sure. Yeah, here for 55 seconds. We see we've got the camera on us. Bit of YMCA. Trying to entertain myself and others while we run all by ourselves on circuit. And as you can see, we come out here behind, I think it's an American driver, Adam, who is a lap down, I believe. I think he's had a penalty in this race. I think, I'm not sure. May have been a different race. But we're out in the clear. Almost like it's open practice. There's no one around us right now, which gets me a little concerned. I mean, I don't know who would have pitted behind me. I'm wondering at this point, did everyone know to pit in the 55-second mark? Has people still pitted on the 35-second mark? Or has everyone listened? But we're going to find out very, very shortly indeed. More people pitting to the right of us there. You can see them on the short circuit. Only 2 minutes left. And there's not a lot of people coming out right now. There's one driver there. Can't quite see who it is. But we're clear. There's no one around us. So where we are at the moment is pretty much where we're going to finish. We just don't know exactly how many people are in front of us right now. It all seems a bit confusing, especially as Dennis was in front of us at the time and he still hasn't come out. So it is getting a bit confusing. Catching the American driver here of Adam Wyckoff. Coming into the dying stages of the race. And again, not a lot of people around. It is starting to get a bit strange. But we are going to go on to the last lap now, so hopefully we'll see some more people come out of the pits and it'll be a lot more clear. As you can see, the marshal's getting the checkered flag ready. We are, I think we're on the last lap. And no one's coming out of the pit lane, so I already know now that something is definitely up. Dennis is nowhere to be seen, and there's also less people in the leading group. So at this point I'm thinking I might gain some positions here. I actually might finish higher up than where I was running at. And this is, I don't believe this is the last lap. I think this is the second to last lap, so actually there might be another opportunity here for people to come out and pit. So we will see very shortly on this following lap. Catching some slipstream now off this American driver, so if anyone does come out with us, we're at least gaining a little bit of time. Running a bit wide though. What I would do to go back to that weather, I think I'd give a lot right now, but anyway, we are on to this final lap, 100%. No one's still coming out the pit lane, it seems, so yeah, I know something's up. Dennis is nowhere to be seen, and also there's just generally less people in front of me. So I already know what's kind of happened there. I think people have just got it wrong with the stop, which is great news for us. It means a good scoring heat for us. We'll just get it confirmed when we go over the line. Obviously Adam here is a lap down, so I think he may have got a penalty in this race. Lets us through. Gentleman he is. And the last few corners now to finish up day 3. It's been mixed. to say the least. First heat was not great. I think we gave it our all. This heat, again, we gave it our all at the start and then kind of settled into a rhythm. But we are going to cross the line. We are going to finish P5, top 5 in this heat. As you can see in the video, I'm there counting away, trying to check who's there. But yeah, Dennis didn't pit. Another driver pitted for only 35 seconds, so we have jumped up to a top 5 position, which is brilliant. So yeah, definitely a positive way to finish the day. And we will move on to day 4 very shortly. Hope you enjoyed and see you at day 4.